Welcome to the Sacred Couch, a safe space, a healing place for the souls of Black folks and other folks seeking wellness. Many of the issues that adversely impact our lives as African Americans today did not begin with us. They began with our violent upheaval, deportation, and human trafficking through the Middle Passage, and continued through slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, discrimination, and degradation. The systemic effects of racism and sexism and other forms of injustice continue to shape our thoughts, self-concepts, relationships, and overall well-being. Because our story is unique, we must reclaim our narratives. Our challenges are also unique. Therefore, our pathways to healing must be authentic. We can't use the same systems and tools that were used to oppress us for centuries to liberate us today. Therefore, the Sacred Couch was uniquely created as an antidote to this long-standing challenge to our mental health, psychological wellness, and spiritual formation. The couch was made for us by us. Here we synergistically blend the scientific and the sacred, the psychological and the prophetic, the socio-relational and the spiritual. I am Dr. S. Janine Hyman, psychologist, theologian, and a grateful Black woman. Come on in, take a load off, relax. Welcome to the Sacred Couch. Good evening and welcome to the Sacred Couch. I am your host. I am Dr. S. Janine Hyman. I really am a proud Black woman. And I am also a mental health professional. Done that for a long time. And a psychologist, a PhD level psychologist. And I am also a trained theologian and have been in ministry for about 45 years. And so here at the Sacred Couch, we synergistically bring together the secular and the sacred. We bring those things together. They're really not separate. We bring together the prophetic and the psychological. They don't necessarily have to be separate either. And we bring the social, the relational, and the spiritual. They definitely should not be separated. So we merge those things and synergistically and hopefully skillfully bring those things together to help improve the human condition, particularly of African Americans and people of the diaspora. So our usual disclaimer, our weekly disclaimer, we are not your replacement for therapy. In fact, I think if you're Black in America, after all of these years of oppression, you ought to give yourself the gift of therapy. This is not a substitute for medical advice or any such thing like that. This is psychoeducational. It is inspirational. And it should be insightful. And it is part of our spiritual formation. Really, if you have serious symptoms of any sort, please consult your nearest and quickest mental health professional. So I always want to say that because we don't want people to try to substitute this for therapy. Do you know there are actually people, this is documented. This is documented. And some of our people are doing it. But it's documented that people are actually using AI as their therapists. And AI is actually offering therapy. Okay? All right. But we're not trying to do that, although the room is prayerfully a safe space, as we said, a safe space and a sacred place for African Americans in particular, and anybody who is on their journey of self-discovery and healing. So y'all gotta hold it just 1 minute. This call I gotta take. All right, hold it 1 minute. Y'all give me one more second. This is urgent. That was an urgent call, and I mean urgent. As y'all can see, I am in a hotel. I've been here 2 days with canceled flights and no luggage, no nothing. And I got people in crisis, parents in crisis and all of that. So had to take that first things first. But thank y'all for holding the line for me. All right. So we uh, wanted to make sure that you understand this is not your therapy session, but it is therapeutic. And we hope that you will find yourself or get some insight, learn some tools and some tactics and some techniques that will help you grow and outgrow some things, identify things, even with others that are in your life. So you'll know how to handle them. uh, Part of relationship is understanding what you're dealing with, both internally, externally, and within that individual. And that individual with whom you're in relationship is always changing and evolving. All right. And so we need to know that. And I'm thinking this is what we're gonna do. Now, if y'all like it, we'll do it. If y'all don't like it, we won't do it. I still might do it. But I think for the month of August, I think I want to deal with the pathology of poverty. We'd be surprised how many of us have um, a poverty mentality. And what it does to us, it is also a trigger for anger and rage. Okay. So that's how that goes. We want to talk about that. So we want to say good evening to everyone who is signing on tonight. Thank the Lord, we finally got this thing up and running. Up and running. Don't know what in the world was going on in here, but we are in the midst of thunderstorms and everything here in New York. Amen. So it is good to see all of you. We are going to talk about in August the pathology of poverty, because ain't a whole lot of people talking about that. And many of us were raised in it and raised through it. Um, Mildred, I love you, and you know why. Raised in it and raised through it, and you'll be surprised how many triggers and traumas that you have just from growing up without the same luxuries that people in privilege had. All right. So it's certainly, again, good to see all of you. But we've been dealing with this black rage, right? And so we want to it got kind of deep last week, didn't it? It got kind of deep. And I think it's September, if I can finish writing the book first. Uh, I want to deal with the rules of relationship. That gonna take the whole month. Matter of fact, I may turn that into a class so that we can get as deep as we need to get with that. So we want to go back to this thing about black rage. We looked at our scriptures on last week to find out that a lot of what we've been taught about anger is just religious preference. Okay, it's just religious preference. It is doctrinal tradition. But we learned last week one of those words, orge, not orgy, orge. Um, okay, the trolls are out already. All right. Really, if you're not here and you're not safe, I need you to exit. Okay, I need you to exit. All right. But we started looking. I got kind of deep last week, and I really appreciate you guys' comments, and I hope you'll keep them coming because it kind of helps us navigate based on the need in our sacred space. The difficulty of having safe space and sacred space is public space, and public space always draws. You know what? All right. So let's dig in a little bit. One of those words, orgate, uh, allows us to actually experience the physical effects of anger. Anger has physical effects. We said we see it in every system. We see it in every animal kingdom. It's wired in as part of our survival, and so it's not a bad word, uh, even though we act like it's a bad word. We want to look a little bit further into this because we have learned that the scripture tells us that we should be angry, not get angry. Be in the state of anger where we understand how we are experiencing it in the body. What the actual anger trigger is. For many of us, we said that anger was a secondary emotion. Many times, the primary emotion is not anger. A lot of times, it is fear. Sometimes it is hurt. It is all of that. Okay. Alrighty. Again, I tell you, the trolls, y'all, this is a therapeutic space. If you're not here for that, get out of our room immediately. Thank you. All right. Uh, uh, this person here, this person here, out, out, out of the room. Okay. You are not safe. And you need a couch, just not this one. Okay. All right. So when we go and we begin to look at this and begin to look at this orgate or how anger sets itself in the body, the scripture says, "Be angry." It should be a state where you understand what the primary emotion is. We talked about this. Any of y'all miss curfew? And if you had a black mama, a big mama, and you miss curfew, and your mama said you better be in this house when the lights go out. I know in my more adolescent days, when we were in Portsmouth, Virginia, by the Naval Shipyard, this gun would go off. You could hear it all over Tidewater at 9 o'clock. In the summer, you better be. That gun go off. You better be in the house. That was military alert of what time all of us mostly were supposed to be in the house. Um, and if you kind of miss that curfew, man, you talking about getting worn out. You talking about getting the whipping of your life or punished or whatever. And I mean, they really let you have it. Anger was not the primary emotion. The primary emotion, more than likely, with parents knowing what's out there, with parents knowing about policing, and with parents knowing about the racism and them looking for our kids and all of that, and what happens even in the dark. There was a fear there, and the fear fueled the anger. And that's why you really got it, okay? So we need to understand that sometimes anger is a secondary emotion. You're going to have to be able to identify, what am I really feeling here? But the scripture tells us, orge, be angry. Feel it organically in your body. And then do not sin. Be angry and sin not. And then we talked about, don't let the sun go down on your wrath. Now that I'm just a little perturbed, but don't let the sun go down on your wrath, because we begin to talk about some of the biological effects when anger stays trapped. And I am so sure about this. And I believe science is going to actually bear it out. That, again, uh, we're already hearing that dementia and Alzheimer's is going to be epidemic in a few years. I think it is already an epidemic. I believe that, and they have already predicted And then I didn't hear it anymore. I guess they pulled it. They have already predicted that dementia and Alzheimer's is going to grossly affect African Americans more than any other demographic. So, how do they know that? And how have they predicted that? I think we're going to find out that much of it, more than just atrophy of the brain, shrinkage of the brain, dehydration even of the brain, extra glucose in the brain, all of these things we're finding out is connected to dementia. I have both of my parents are dealing with cognitive decline. Grandparents had it. It's just boop, 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 you know. And I think it is more than just that. I think it is for us. I think it is trauma related, not expressed, grief related, not expressed, maybe even guilt and shame related, but a lot of anger related that we don't have the space and the safety and the privilege like other people who have privilege who have short fuses. We don't have that privilege. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit tonight. I know y'all heard this. If y'all heard this, just put me a little LOL or something in the chat. You know, they talk about, oh, excuse me, I passed a little gas. And they go, child, don't worry about it. More room out than in. All right. There's something actually very, very true about that. There's more room out than in. Of our few people that are watching on tonight, three people watching. Let's say thank you, Dr. Corey Hinton. Thank you for giving. Thank you for those of you who are supporting the platform who have already given before you got on the couch tonight. I thank God for you. Thank God for you. All right. But three people watching. Let's see if any of this is you. Okay, LOL. Y'all know. Y'all know LS. More room out than he. Then you just excuse me, more room after that. Okay, somebody got it. All right. Okay. All right. So three people watching. Let's see if you are any of these three. Okay, I know some more y'all heard that other than two people. Holler at me. All right. And y'all know these comments come in a little bit late. And we're of course under this storm right here in Richmond. And y'all pray I can get out of here tomorrow. It's supposed to storm again. I've been stranded now for 2 days, and my work here was over on Sunday. Um, but three of you who are watching, the one who snapped over something small, hmm you on here, the one whose body hurts and you got aches and pains and you can't sleep. hmm I know some of y'all on here, and the one carrying a burn that they stopped noticing. You just carrying the rage and you don't even feel it no more. Just don't even feel it anymore. Thank you, Angela Payne Cox. Thank you for supporting the platform. Thank you, appreciate it. All right, it's the same thing. Three different faces. Okay, one who snapped over something small. Remember we talked about this was probably a three or four, maybe a five response, but you responded. Okay, y'all. Okay, y'all coming in now. All of y'all. See, more room out than there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, uh, but it was a three or four. And when you reacted to it, it was like a eight or nine, a 10. All right. Or the one whose body hurts and there's aches and pains that are unexplained. And your sleep is disturbed. And the one carrying a burn that they stop noticing, or as old folks say, itch you can't scratch. All right. Okay. Same, as they say, same demon, different skirt, different pants. All right. So I know y'all are up here tonight. Okay. Um, seem kind of, when you look at our, um, when you look at our history, the slave law, uh, slavery, the black codes, convict leasing. If you don't know what that is, uh, um, look it up. Okay. Convict leasing. Um, If we look up the lynchings that took place from 1882 to 1968, and they're still happening. They are still happening. Okay, the police brutality, all of that. Um, when you look at the policing and just the injustice of how we do blacks in terms of the penal system, the disequity there, the inequity is just crazy, and we look at COINTELPRO, something else for you to look up. The anger is legitimate when we look at differences in housing, differences in APRs, percentage rates, interest, differences in insurance, how much we pay, differences in how much we have to pay to get mortgages, differences in the wages, and the wealth gap. All of this stuff is still happening. All right. All of this stuff is still happening. Haywood Pittman, get out of our room. All right. You're not safe. Get out of our room. All right. If you're not here for this, wrong couch. Thank you. I'm telling you, trolls be coming out. They really be coming out on this on YouTube. All right. So all of this, the anger is legitimate. Whenever you see an injustice, the system is wired. Whenever we see an injustice, that system is wired to actually feel anger in your body. When you see things done wrong, people done wrong, you know, it's you're wired for that. You're wired for that. You're divinely wired for it. So the anger is legitimate, but expressing it historically for African Americans has proven deadly. That was the design to keep us docile. Then you give us doctrine and indoctrinate us to keep us docile. Okay? Okay. Mm-mm. No, ma'am. All right. So this has been the design and it's kind of worked. Okay. And if we don't handle it right, we're going to keep doing what we're doing, particularly where it comes to internalized oppression, hopelessness, and self-hate. Many times that rage or that anger translates to black on black violence, black on black crime, because you ain't gonna pay the same way, because there's no value on black bodies. And if it's a black female, no value at all on those kind of black bodies. And so, people still think they can get away with stuff. And we have these microaggressions every day. Every day. I'm telling you, every day. I'm up, they call it Chinese store. I'm in there buying a few hair products and they staring me down because I'm taking too long in the store. Y'all came here and you don't have any respect or regard for us. Mm. So there's that. So it's real. The microaggressions are real. People walking in front of you. Um, I was in the bathroom at the airport, and an older white lady washed her hands behind me. I wash my hands. She's over here. I'm washing my hands. I'm drying my hands. She comes past me, just kind of wipes her hand on my arm like this, her wet hand, like trying to hold herself up. Don't say excuse me. Don't say can I? Nothing. And I'm going. Okay, or if you were shopping, you'll watch them march the cart right in front of you. Even here, the line here was all the way around the lobby because all the hotels here are full because everybody's stranded. All the New York airports, everybody's stranded. And I watch people while I'm actually getting my turn to talk to the person at the desk, actually walk right in front of me and say, "Excuse me, da 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 da," you know. And if you let them, that you're not even there. And I said, "Excuse me, I know you saw me." Oh, oh. And they're like, something wrong with you because you said something. "Excuse me, I was standing here. I know you saw me talking." Okay? Because if I keep doing that, and keep allowing them to do it and not call a thing out without getting out of myself, right? They're going to keep doing it. And that's going to keep mounting and mounting and mounting. And then I'll be the person with the burn that act like the burn ain't there. Not healthy for me. So, and you got to call them on it. Okay. So there's that. All right. So we want to understand that much of it, not all of it, but much of our anger is justified. And the design is that you have no place to express it, to show it. And then we're going to indoctrinate you and demonize stuff that we say God do. Y'all say God get angry. Y'all scriptures say that. Okay? And then of course the scripture is telling us again to be angry and to sin not. Okay? Alrighty. So anger is not the flaw. Anger is not the flaw. Be angry. It's not a flaw. It is the right response to a real wrong. And we have it and we live them every day. All right. Yeah, y'all talk to me. Just talk to me. All right. Let me know if you're tracking with me. Okay. So anger is not the flaw. Being angry does not break God's law. All right. Let's get that in our heads. Okay. It is the right response to a real, not just a perceived, but a real wrong, a real injustice, a real boundary. Okay? All right? And we just gave it to you. The wrong is documented. All right? So with nowhere to go, it changes you. No way to get that out, it changes you. It changes your brain, it changes your immune system, it changes you emotionally. Okay? It changes you. It's got to have somewhere to go. Our challenge is to identify it. Mhm. Identify your triggers. Identify the primary emotion, which is hard for some of us because sometimes the primary emotion for us shows a vulnerability. And many times we don't like to show ourselves as vulnerable, as someone who has been mishandled and it affects us. Okay. And then you'll find out really when you talk about being angry in healthy ways, a whole lot of people, especially if they deep and they religious, can't handle it. And if people have not handled their anger, they're not going to be able to handle yours very well. They'll tell you, I know sometimes my mama don't like me to feel bad about nothing if she can help it. Even if even if she can't remember, she'd be like, "Now, but did I tell you something?" She don't like me to feel bad about nothing. And she'll tell me, "Oh, child, don't be angry about that." And I said, "But I'm angry about what I'm angry about." Now, in her late 80s, there's some things that she has learned ain't worth the anger. That's part of her wisdom. The other part is, I don't want you to feel like that. Don't waste no time on that. But I am angry. And I want to acknowledge that I am angry. Okay? And this is why I am angry. If you can put a why to it, why did I really go off? Why did I give that a 9 when that was probably a 4 or 5? Why am I so snappy? You know? Or why just leave me alone, you know? Why am I aching like this? All right. So yeah, you gotta kind of look at your body and begin to understand sometimes why to the brain will actually stimulate your brain to look for answers to give you insight. Okay, so the brain and body, let's do a little bit of the science of this. Okay, y'all tracking? All right, I'm not seeing like one person's comments. All right, the thinking brain is what we call the frontal lobe, the frontal part of the brain, versus the alarm brain, the center of the brain. So, you got all these parts of the brain that are responsible. I mean, just fearfully and wonderfully made. We got all this brain and don't even know how it works. Okay, we just doing what we do without no idea what is going on in the body and what's responsible. If you don't know what is going on in your body and what's responsible for what, I don't want you to get overly, inundated with the scientific stuff that makes no sense to you, but just some basic things so that you are in charge of your emotions. You're in charge of your body. Okay? But we got the thinking brain versus the alarm brain, front brain, center brain. Unresolved anger. Alarm takes over and the thinking brain goes quiet. This is why you cannot reason with rage. You can't. You can't. Once a person gets to like a 8, if they get to 7 or 8, if you can't catch them before they get to 8, you cannot reason with rage. You cannot reason with rage. Okay? You cannot expect rage while they're in it to become rational. It's just not going to happen because the frontal lobe, which kind of controls certain behavior, the frontal lobe is responsible for us learning from our mistakes. And the more we have attention deficit, the more we have ADHD, the more we have things on the spectrum, the more the forebrain or the frontal lobe, the frontal part of the brain is affected. And we're finding that even in America, y'all get this, that people stay in adolescence now to their 30s because the frontal lobe isn't developing like it used to back, in our days. It's just not. And so, um, thank you. I'm finally seeing some comments. Thank you. Uh, at 25 and 27 and 28, it's almost like their frontal lobe is still of that as an adolescent. And so, and this is this was a white psychologist make this study very prominent that here in America, and it ain't everywhere, it's in the West primarily, but here in America, we are finding out that the frontal lobe, the frontal part of the brain that's responsible for learning from mistakes, from insight, um, from thinking through, rationing on through, or saying this is inappropriate, delaying gratification, that is actually delayed in a lot of Americans. And so they late 20s, early 30s before they actually adulting. Okay, so when and we know this is factual. When a person gets here and they start getting at a 7 or an 8, then the alarm brain takes over. The trigger, the part of us that said fight, freeze, fawn, flight. Okay, we're gonna talk about fawn too, probably Monday. Um, It tells us to do that for survival. The alarms are going off. Da, 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 da. It may not even have anything to do with you. It may be a trigger from something way back here. And when you get near it, the person responds. When you get near it, we said even when people are defensive, sometimes people will cut me off and start defending themselves. But Bishop, da, 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 da. Or if I'm in a therapeutic setting, and oh well, no, da 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 da, and I'm going, you didn't even let me finish the question. You didn't let me finish the statement. So if you did not hear the statement, what are you responding to? What are you responding to if you did not hear? That means you are defending. The brain has gone into alarm mode. It has gone into a state that you were in before. And this may have been all the way back from childhood. It may be 40, 50 years old. Okay? Because if you didn't hear what I said, what are you defending? Mm-hmm. So then here is a tool. You got to practice it. So you don't get to a 10 when you should be functioning at a 4. Or we can still reason. Okay? Swift to hear and slow to speak. For many of us, neurologically, this is something we have to practice. You may even have to stop and, even if you got to cover your mouth, That little pause. I want to give you a tool right here. That little pause, that, especially if you can get it through your nose, and just hold it for like 2 or 3 seconds and deep breath. And then sometimes while you're breathing, you're able to hear them out, slows the brain down, gets a little oxygen in there, and pulls us back. Swift to hear, the scripture says, slow to speak. The people who are wisest in their speech are the people who have developed listening skills. The people who have a point to prove and who must be heard like to talk more than they like to listen. But the wise person responds based on what they have heard and sometimes what they didn't hear. Okay? It's going to take a little practice. Swift to hear, slow to speak. How many of y'all heard your mama or big mama or papa or your daddy say, this is why the Lord gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth? Even though you got 2 lips. But 2 ears and 1 mouth. Same difference. Same difference. Even if they didn't know a Bible, they knew the practical wisdom of it. Okay? So when you feel yourself start getting to a 5 or 6, bring that thing in. Or when you start getting defensive, you're defending something from way back there, and you could miss the wisdom of your life talking. Talking. I said this to one of our young men. I don't know how well he took it, but we were sitting at a table after um, service here in New York, and I was sitting with our South African and Zimbabwe and Swaziland, sitting with those men. I always do that. I always do that. And we're sitting and talking. There's a young man sitting there, and his eyes were just going. And he was like, "Oh, I can't believe you sat beside me. It's something something you taught us last time." And da 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 da. And he was just going and going and going. The Africans were just eating. They weren't saying a word. The Africans were eating it. I'm the only female at the table. That's usually the case. The Africans are just eating. They didn't say a word. And so finally, he says, I know I'm kind of rambling, right? I said, yeah, you're rambling a little bit. And I said, but can I share a wisdom with you? I said, when you are at the table with your elders, don't talk. Listen. And he was like, what? And I said, my African brothers, am I being African? They said, yes, sir, poor son. This is ancient African wisdom. Yeah, because they just kept on eating. It's like they didn't say not one thing to the young man, kept eating. And I'm saying, here are these men all the way from across the water. Our elders, those prophetic insight. And these are men. And then here's the divine feminine at the table. And I'm saying, you with your elders. Unless you have questions, listen. Because what you would take from this table may last you the rest of your life. What you leave at this table, not so much. Swift to hear, slow to speak. The wisdom, sometimes what they're saying out of their mouth is really not to cut you down. Sometimes it is a proper critique that you need to tweak something without it feeling like, here we go, correction is rejection. Many of us feel like correction is rejection. And so we go there and we just start getting angry because it has triggered something. Again, remember, this part, you need this. But when you go into alarm mode, the center brain kind of shuts down the thinking brain. The thinking brain goes quiet and people react rather than to respond appropriately. Okay? How are we tracking? All right? Let me hear from you. Let me hear from you. Okay? The comments are coming in really, really slow tonight. Okay? Let me hear from you. All right. See what happens also with the body and the brain is when you sleep on it, the sun goes down on your wrath. That is such an ancient wisdom, the science of it, and the prophetic insight of it. When you sleep on it and the brain locks it in, It locks it in deeper overnight. It locks it in deeper overnight. So you wake up with more anger and offense loaded. This is why Paul or whoever writes this say work on what you're feeling before the sun goes down. Because when the sun goes down, I mean, we got all these lights and digital stuff now, and this is why we're sleep deprived, and we angry because we sleep deprived. Okay. Um, but as the sun goes down, and our circadian cycle, our body, our rhythm, is designed to go with it. And he says, before the sun goes down, before you started, you lay down and you relax and you repose. Sometimes when you be, your mind just be going. Anybody be trying to sleep and your mind just be going. Yeah. And you'll ruminate over that thing. Wow, wow, wow. I can't believe they did. I can't believe they did. I can't believe. And you'll fall asleep on it. And it's just like wiring a pattern into your head. And so the brain locks it in even deeper overnight. And you actually wake up more loaded, more offended, more ticked. All right. And so this is why we say don't let the sun go down on your wrath. Okay. Columbia again did this study again in 2024. I think we maybe talked about it a little bit last week. Y'all, I really need to see your comments because it's like one person's comments coming in and it's too much. Okay. I'm not saying anything from anybody. So let me know if you are there, especially Facebook. I'm not getting any Facebook comments at all. Um, just I think I got one from Mildred, and that's Reginald. I love every yes. So let me know Facebook that we still tracking. Okay. All right. All right. So in 2024, Columbia does this study, right? And they actually found out that when that anger kind of sets in you, all right, it actually damages your blood vessels. Okay. Anger damages your blood vessels in a way that sadness and anxiety doesn't even do it. Doesn't even do it. But that anger, chronic anger, can actually result in heart damage, high blood pressure. Okay. Yeah, I'm only getting comments from you on Facebook. I don't know. Okay, Linda. Okay, there we go. Okay. I was like, what happened to all the comments? All right. Um, and so this whole kind of effect that it has on the heart, maybe lasting heart damage. All right. We said that um, rage was anger turned outward. And usually when it's turned outward on the wrong source. We already know. We can't, if somebody do us a certain kind of way, we already know we can't pop off but a certain amount because that's it. We might get tased, shot, arrested, anything. So it is almost like, we're going to show you what happens to you if you retaliate and you respond. And so many times, okay, thank you. Thank you, Mildred. Yes, storming and stuff here too. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mary. But, many times, you can't like get them the way they got you. And so because you have nowhere to put it, if you really can't hold it and you're not in touch with yourself, okay? You're not in touch with the triggers. You're not in touch with your body, okay? You're not taking a pause before you take a swing with the paw, all right? If we're not doing that, we ain't got nowhere to put it. It's going to come out on something else. It's called, again, displaced aggression. We're going to take it out on something or somebody else. Sometimes it's even taking it out on ourselves, sabotaging ourselves. I ain't even going to get to that tonight. What happens when you have guilt and shame and you ticked off at yourself and you're angry at yourself for what you didn't do or what you should do or what you did do that you said you wasn't going to ever do, or who got you again and you said you weren't ever going to get got again. And sometimes you get so angry and disgusted with yourself that you actually take the anger out on yourself and you sabotage yourself, sabotage your assignment, sabotage your relationships, sabotage. I ain't gonna talk about what happens when you sabotage your money. Ooh, that's the first time I heard that come out. That's why this is the sacred count. All right. Some of us are sabotaging our money because we have to take that anger out somewhere, or we take it out on each other, or we take it out on the kids, you know, or whatever. And so we displace that aggression. All right. So we don't want to do that. All right. And we don't want to just hold it in and just let it kind of slow burn your heart and your vessels and all of this other stuff. Lasting heart damage. Okay. It's also what we call Geronimus weathering. Geronimus kind of look like Geronimo, but Geronimus weathering. Black bodies carry more stress, wear and tear at every age, at every age, at every income level, at every educational level than all other demographics, especially white people. We carry our bodies carry more stress wear and tear at every age, every income level. A degree does not erase it. A degree does not change it. Success does not change it. None of that. At the end of the day, you still in. Okay, you got it. All right. Now, how it shows up. Let's talk a little bit about that. Again, the same brain structures, but it kind of shows up a little different. Men, this is what happens in your bodies. You have more cortisol. Okay, that's a little stress thing. More cortisol. You do more outward and active coping. For many of our men, work. Their whole manhood is in how they sex you, who they sex, how they sex. You know, y'all be hollering and carrying on because y'all been watching porn and you've been taught to holler even if you don't like it. Oh, that's another thing for the couch. Ooh. But it usually in that act or in their work. And we watch so many men when they lose their jobs. They're not just losing income, they're losing identity. They're losing what they feel to be productive. They're losing what they feel to be their ability to provide their manhood, their identity, whole lot of it. And so a lot of times they will cope by doing things outwardly, active coping and working and things like that. Women carry we have deeper emotional centers. It doesn't mean that we are hyper emotional. That is a trope, and that is some other research that did not include us. But you know, our emotional centers, we're trained to have deeper ones, and so we're more sensitive to social ruptures. We're more sensitive to relational fractures. We're more sensitive to something ain't right, something don't feel right, blah, blah, blah. All right. And so we're going to deal with that differently. So we try to do verbal, and if it's on a certain pitch, ladies, this could go on rules of relationship. It's on a certain pitch, a certain frequency, and a certain intonation. Our men have been trained to tune it out, drown it out. And by drowning it out, I mean with their voice and their rage. Or tune it out, act like you ain't say nothing, or dismiss it, or just shut down or leave. Okay? So be careful. Remember now, it is the responsibility of the communicator to be heard. The responsibility is not on the hearer alone, but you're the communicator. It is your responsibility to do so in such a way that you are heard and received. All right? And then know when it ain't no point. That other brain done took over. You can't reason with rage. Okay? All right. So his anger is made more dangerous. It's the way the culture shaped it. They violent. His anger is made more dangerous. Hers is made more invisible. And if hers is made more invisible, then, you know, After a while, when we done had enough, okay, remember, rage has no reason. People cannot respond rationally to your rage. Okay? All right. So again, our bros, our reaction is bigger than the trigger. Usually for our men, because they just train that way. It's male privilege. I ain't got no consequences. Oh yeah, we do. Oh yeah, we do. So the the reaction is bigger, 9 or 10, than the trigger. They may have a short fuse. I want us to know. There was some of our little symptoms here. Okay, um, a short fuse. A man particularly. All right, brothers, if you're tracking with me, let me hear. A man particularly, and then you add a black man on top of it, with our history of disrespect. It is not just that black men are disrespected. That is patriarchy. It's still misogynistic. That even in suffering, the bros are here and the sisters don't even exist. Okay? Um, but when you look at our history, boy, that's all I understand. Why people, I can finish preaching, they be like, girl, you preach. But if I call you boy, okay? Remember that we got all of this history that has traveled in our DNA, our history that has traveled in our families, in the culture, and all of that. Okay, so we got some stuff that's different. That's why our tools have to be different, and that's why our diagnosis have to be different. Okay, so short fuse, quick to feel disrespected, quick to feel disrespected. Okay, even if they can't figure out what they did and how they pissed you off. Because remember now, the thinking brain gone. I'm into alarm now. I have to protect myself. I have to protect my image. I got to protect my male image, and I got to protect the ego. And you coming for me? That's disrespect. And then we use the church. We use the church and doctrine and dogma to sanction this stuff. Okay, anybody who has been mishandled, devalued, misused, abused, talked to wrong, handled wrong, feels disrespect, even your children. And I'm talking about your little children. Okay? All right? And so a lot of times that anger lands on the family, lands on a woman. Um, If we can't find a way to put it there, we'll put it in the pulpit and it'll land on the pulpit. It land up. Sometimes they come after me on social media. When we have the doctors are in, we be talking about stuff and the bros would never come for Dr. Brown or Dr. Gardner. They would come straight for me. Isn't that something? All right. And so if it's outward, this is what we get. Okay. If it's inward, it goes quiet. They kept saying, I'm fine. I'm all right. I'm good. No, I don't need nothing. They're not going to admit that vulnerability to you, especially if you're a woman and you keep saying, babe, you all right? Son, you all right? Nephew, you good? No, I'm good, auntie. I'm good. I'm all right. Okay? So then if they go inward, they go quiet. They're going to say, I'm fine. I'm good. Everything is well. They bury themselves in their work. They bury it in drink. They bury it in substance. They bury it in sex. They bury it in silence. Okay? They just can't sit still. They got to be moving. They got to be making it work. Okay? All right? All right. All right. Let me hear again from my Facebook people. All right? Because all I'm seeing is red for YouTube. This is really weird. This is weird tonight. It's weird tonight. It's weird tonight. All right. So I need to hear more from my Facebook people and a lot less from one individual. Okay. All right. Thank you. That's on YouTube. Thank you very much. All right. So let's see what happens in the body with the men again. High blood pressure. Sometimes I actually have seen, sometimes I see it on women, but right here, that temporal mandibular joint, right up in here, sometimes you see it kind of grinding. Okay, that's good. All right. All right, because it's like it's favoring YouTube, and I'm just getting the same stuff over and over. All right, so I need to just see something. Okay, good, thank you. I just need to know what's happening on the other side of the screen. Thank y'all. All right, they carry it in their shoulders. Sometimes you can see what they carry it in their chest. There's a lot of tension there. Poor sleep, early heart trouble, easily irritated, and then they turn within. Okay, if we turn this to black women. Um, our tendency, because this is how we're socialized, we're punished both by whites and both by male and misogyny and by the negative stereotypes and tropes. We're trying to avoid getting classified like that, although we really could, you know. But we're going to turn inward, and this turning inward is dressed up as strength and resilience. We carry everyone. This is part of that fawning, that's a stress response. We carry everyone, and then if something gets you off or gets you out of sort, we will apologize for our own anger when the anger is warranted. We feel bad for feeling bad after we done carried everybody and ain't nobody carrying us. Okay? We will tend to give up our needs first and never fully receive and never fully rest because we're taking care of everything in our body. This is what happens to us. A little bit different. That stress and that anger that's being held in the body begins to affect your autoimmune system. I know something about that. Mildred, I know you know something about that. The body begins to attack itself. All right? The body begins to attack itself. And so your autoimmune system, rather than fighting for you and fighting off antagonists and antigens in the body, it will begin to turn on its own self and fight the body. And it shows up as lupus, as fibromyalgia, um, as scleroderma. It also shows up in certain types of arthritis and aches and pains and inflammation in the body. Uh, and you have a fatigue that even though you sleep, you still tired. You still feel like, okay, I slept, but I feel like I haven't. Okay, so you have a fatigue and an exhaustion that sleep alone won't fix, and sometimes pain with no found cause. All right, look for the gap. The body keeps the score. If you don't have that book, get it. The body keeps the score. So the gap, again, you look for the gap. The reaction, however it is bigger than the trigger. Okay? While you seem to be calm outside, while the body is falling apart inside. I felt like that yesterday. They said, "Oh, you're so calm." Oh, no, honey. My insides are going bananas. Okay? All right? Let's do a few triggers. Let's see if we can spot a few triggers. All right. Let's see if you can 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 find a few triggers. Our triggers with our bros, with the bros. Our triggers cluster around my dignity, my image, respect, and control. Dignity, image, respect, and control. Okay. So here's a trigger: feeling like you're being talked down to. All right. This trigger all black people because we got a history of it. Just. I mean, how do you call your president call Africa an asshole and other stuff that's been said about women? You know, you do this, you just grab them in a private part. I mean, it okay. It's just it'd be too much. So this is all of us, but this tends to be a little bit more for our men. Their triggers: being talked down to, being dismissed, or remember, it's image corrected in front of others. Image, image, because I'm a male, and I'm over the woman. I'm next to God. I got the same thing God got, because God is a He. Maybe we'll talk about back in the ancient days when God was a she. Ah, But, God, so all of this stuff, I have to appear this way. But inside, I'm not this way because nobody gave me the tools to be this way. So it is image. It's image. How I'm made to look. I remember when I was pastoring, y'all, some of y'all gonna laugh at this. I remember when I was pastoring, we used to have outreaches on a corner. My church is kind of a little bit in the hood, around stores, and we had everything. Little neighborhood stores, uh, black owners. We had a lot of our people who lived in group homes lived near the house, and they'd be roaming and all this. So I mean, we had everything. You shooting out on the corner, we just ducking and carrying on. Y'all get down. They be like, "That bitch, why you hit the ground for I did?" I'll be like, "West Philly, baby." Okay, and so, uh, uh, one day, brother came. We had a little food tent going on the corner, and we just cooking, and we would allow our policemen and firemen, they could come and eat for free, for their service. And our elders over 75, you come and eat for free. Everybody else got to pay. Even if you give us a quarter, we give you something. And so, bruh came up, and I had my cap on backwards, my shirt on and my little jean skirt. Um, had that on. And the guy probably didn't know that I was the bishop, because I'm on the corner. I'm, I ain't trying to look, whatever. And so he kept getting in my face. And I kept saying, "Young man, I'm going to need you to get out of my face, okay? All right." And he kept pulling up on me, kept getting a little bit closer. And I said, "Now you're in my personal space." And I'm sitting there, why my members sitting here looking? The brother's sitting down looking. What? Sisters, we feel some kind of way if we don't feel safe with our brothers. We feel some kind of way. That also goes back to slavery. Okay. And so I'm saying, what? My dick is sitting there. Ain't nobody saying nothing. Y'all let that bro get up in my face like that. So, I'm feeling some kind of way behind me, and the dude keep getting in my face, right? And so I said, "Sir, if you come," and I'm doing this like this, just as calm as I can be. "If you come another further, I'm going to knock you out. Okay? So please, sir, back up." So he all up in my face like he about to. And when he got this close, I backed it up one, and I took both of my fists and I said, boom! And I knocked that man in his chest. And the man fell down, hit a chair, because we had folded chairs out. Hit the chair flips over. The man ends up under a parked car, head under a parked car. And so then the brothers gonna come and help get him up. Ain't nobody say, "Are you all right, Bishop?" The brothers, "Let me come here and get him up." Y'all, that man ain't know I was coming. But I told him 3 times I warned him. And so, I mean, I just backed that shit up. Then I got so scared. I said, "He probably gonna come back and he gonna shoot me. He gonna shoot me." Because I knocked him down and other people saw me knock him down. It wasn't that he was hurt. He probably didn't even think, "Okay, I violated her." he he obviously thought, because I wasn't doing all of that, that I wasn't serious. He violated personal space. He violated sacred boundary. And he showed me, I don't care what you say, I'm entitled. I'm entitled. But my fear wasn't that. I said, "Lord, y'all got to get me out here. They be able to come back and shoot me." It was, I knew how angry he would get because a woman knocked his butt down. It's the image. I'm still living today, thank the Lord. It's the image. And nobody ever said, finally one of the brothers was like, "Bruh, that's my pastor. That's my bishop. Why you up on her like that? Why you can't do that." And they, like, and then the other guys laughing, "Oh man, she stole you, bruh." you know, it was image. And that was where the fear of retaliation was. Not the whatever. I think if he had probably swung back, the brothers would have jumped in, I guess. All right. But ladies, you know how we feel when we not protected. Okay? They're image driven. You gotta know that. And so when you correct them in front of somebody else, oh no. If they got this thing in their head that all black women are controlling. It's just in their head. It's just the way they've been socialized. And they may have even had some experiences. So you take socialization, the way you've been trained, the way you've been told, and what you've seen other men and women do, those dynamics, and your lived experience, and boom, it's a fact all the way across. And so, because they know we are oppressed at the bottom, they subconsciously know this, even if they think we're supposed to be there. Um, their thing is, you ain't gonna control me. You ain't gonna control me. You ain't gonna box me in, and you ain't gonna tell me what to do with no say. Even if you have a man who is accommodating and they do, yes, dear, happy wife, happy life. Okay, that ain't even our stuff. All right, happy you, happy wife. How about that? Happy you, happy everybody else. How about that? Okay. So they're boxed in, controlled, that's a trigger. Or told what to do, and you won't even let me say nothing. That's a trigger. Okay. Feeling unseen as a provider. Again, the way that many of them are tied into their work, even if the work is illegal, it's still their work. If they can be respected out in them streets, okay, if they can be respected, LS, out in them streets, that's the addiction. The addiction ain't pushing the drugs or whatever ganging. The addiction is the respect and the image. And this is how I provide for my family. Okay? All right? And so we need to understand that they feel unseen as a provider or a protector, or they're not being trusted to handle things, even if they're not handling it, ladies. That's kind of an area we're gonna have to sit with that a minute. You know, it's not being done. Okay, I told you like 3 times and it's not done. You know, and then ladies, we may start either doing it ourselves. Not good. Because now you're showing them that they enough. You say, well, it's got to be done. It's a delicate mix. I may have to sit with that as we do our series in September on the rules of relationship. You know, and then how do you not nag? Because nagging ain't gonna get it. Okay, it's it's really having a conversation. This makes me feel like this when this is not done, or maybe you forgot, or did you forget, or do you need a gentle reminder? You know, no, I don't need no reminder. I ain't forgot. All right, but remember, so if we know what these triggers are, we can know how to. Oh yeah, Angie, we can know how to maybe handle ourselves because we may not know that these are triggers. That's why we're doing this, men and women, so we can know. Um, so if they feel like their authority has been stopped or whatever, um, not good. Okay, all right. Or if their authority is threatened, not good. All right. All right. Let's look at the ladies. All right. All right. Some of our triggers is again, here it is. I just did it. See? Is their cluster. Now remember, their cluster is dignity, respect, image, and control. Our cluster is feeling unseen, unheard, unprotected, and overused or taken for granted. Okay? All right? Oh, that's the truth. That's the truth. That is the truth. All right. Even in our cycles, the fibroids, the extra heavy flow, all that stuff, yes, ma'am, may be triggered, may be trauma informed, and anger. It may have a correlation with anger. Absolutely. I was just going there. The fibroids, the endometriosis, and even the miscarriages. Okay. I mean, we know there are multi dimensional things that are going on here, but certainly we cannot overlook the role that hidden, suppressed anger carries. So here's a trigger. We carrying all of this, and ain't no one noticed, and ain't nobody stepping in to help. Just like I was like, what? Why y'all sitting down and burn my face like that? He shouldn't have been able to even get that close to me. Y'all should have knocked his butt out. you know. And so I was like, what is this? And then when I began to understand, um, it is that strong black woman, let her have it. How far back that goes to slavery. Okay. But if we feel like we're carrying it all and having no one that notices it, appreciates it, or to step in and help, that is a trigger. All right. Trigger in terms of our beingness. Again, being dismissed, being devalued, being overtalked or talked over. All right. Or being gaslit when we know we feel what we feel, and then we're being made to feel like, to question our own feelings or to question our own intuition. All right. So again, you're being dismissed, being over talked or talked over, uh, um, uh, even diluting what you feel and reducing it. Okay. Or, a situation that you read and you may be halfway accurate, you may be all the way accurate, but being gaslit and being made to doubt that. Okay? Women also do not like disrespect. Children don't like disrespect. Your dog don't even like disrespect. So it's not just a man thing, but it is, kind of played that way. All right? And again, that's double for us. Okay? All right. So, we don't, it's a trigger. Everybody leaning on us for everyone's needs, while our needs go unattended, while our needs go unseen. Like we still supposed to do you, and we just told you. Everybody's pulling from everywhere, and it don't stop. It don't stop. So you have got to set boundaries. Okay? Okay? They not tracking. They ain't tracking. They ain't tracking, LaFawn. They ain't tracking. Okay? They not tracking. They not tracking. And it's like, how you don't see this? That's a trigger. If we feel unsafe with you psychologically, this is not just physically. See, this is not just physically. And I said, Lord, I wonder how long I was really ticked off with my folks for just letting me be out here uh, as they shepherd. I probably would have jumped in there. I'd have probably jumped in the fight. But I'm like, did that really make me mad? And I'm like, okay, first emotion, primary emotion, disappointment. Because I can't trust you in my vulnerability. Disappointment. I'm not valuable enough for you to take care of. I'm not valuable enough for you to jump in there and defend and protect. Primary emotion, disappointment. Secondary emotion, anger. I mean, I really had to work with that thing like a couple of years, like for real. I was like, Lord, please don't let this come out of my preaching. Because I want to say, let me tell y'all something. Let's have a meeting. No, let me deal with this. Let me deal with the social um, construct here. Let me deal with the historical context. So it took me a while to get there. I had to grow into all of that. Okay. Here it is. Look at here. Thank you. Now we tracking. Don't cut me off in the middle of my statement. Please just let me finish. Again, it's that same thing. Okay? It's the same thing. Is that we don't like being overtalked. It's a trigger. You done shut me down and shut me up before I even got my point out. Just know that they are defending something that may not have anything to do. It may have something to do with you if this is your history, but it may not have anything to do with you. How are they defending if they haven't heard what you said. Swift to hear, slow to speak. That's the tool. All right? Taking that little breath and that pause before you swing your paw. All right? Okay. Yeah. That's it. That's it. That's it. Anger uses the secondary emotion. Right there, Melinda. Okay. And of course, feeling unsafe or unshielded, or having to brace yourself and self protect. Having to brace yourself and self protect. You know, sometimes as my mother's gotten older, I be, get out my mother's face. I'm just telling you, sir, I'm going to need you. Okay, excuse me, doctor. Is there a reason you talking to my mama like that at 87 years old? She said, oh, Red, man, Johnny, I got it. I still got it. My mama still be balling up her fist. She might forget what she's supposed to be in, like balling up her fist. You know, she said, I can take care of myself. And I said, at 87, what's this? At 87, I said, this is 77. I said, this is 67. You shouldn't have to. Whether or not men, we can take care of ourselves as strong, resilient black women, whether we still got a and we still got a little something, you know, my knees getting a little slower in my 60s, you know, at some point, even if we can understand, we shouldn't have to. So those are typical triggers for males and females. I hope this you're finding this a little bit helpful. Okay, catch it early, bros. You feel it up in your chest. Your jaw start to tighten. Your chest get hot. We feel it too. The breath actually gets shorter. You see animals. Those breaths are shorter. It's wired in you. Okay. Um, Whether you going quiet and you feel yourself shutting down, or whether you going loud, that's the moment to name it and claim it, not after. Okay. All right. All right. So let's do a few tools. That's it. We can take up. I'm telling you, you know, sometimes when especially when our women get dementia, white women get like this too. You know, they really do. They get violent. You know what I mean? I think my mama would just like, look, little girl. I'd be like, whoa, sister, what? Hey, they still got that fight in them. You know, it's still there because we had to. We had to. On the plantation, we had to. During Jim Crow, we had to. If they protected us, that meant lynched, castrated, stomped, beat up, and whooped. And the retaliation against them would be to rape us. And so they're helpless, frozen as a trauma response. Do I save her or do I save my life? Do I pray for the best? And it's, you know, so the dynamics, thank you, Mary. The dynamics are historical and passed down. Okay? All right, we're at our time. Let's do a few little practical tools. We did the quick breathe. Right? Through the nose, hold a couple of seconds, even if you had to do it like this on the DL. Or if a person said, well, what are you doing? You're like, just give me a minute. Well, you ain't saying nothing. I'm thinking, let me just give me a minute. Let me process this. That pause, I'm telling you, the power of the pause. How a breath breaks the cycle and helps that forebrain not go into hiding while the emotional brain takes over. Okay? They do it so much, and it causes us, when we feel powerless, to self-victimize. And then let's talk about the shame and the guilt that you can't talk about. This thing is deep. It's deep, y'all. It's deep. All right? Match your wiring. Match your wiring. Talk, write, pray it out. And if silence grows it, put something into action. Okay? Put something into action so the stewing about it won't trap you. Okay? Control the fight, flight, freeze. Because sometimes those brothers would freeze, James Evans. They would freeze. They would hit a raping in the back and couldn't even go. A few of them did now. And they killed them. A few of them did. But they would hear the silent screams. They knew it. They knew it and could do nothing. Could do nothing. So there's the fight, flight, freeze. Shut down, freeze. It's kind of like a possum does. Freeze. Like a rabbit. Rabbits would go across my yard, and I had my beagle living then. They would see the beagle and just freeze. It would not move. Then after they figured out my dog didn't chase them, they would take off running. Okay? And then that fawn response. We got to talk about that fawn. And I won't get a chance to do it tonight. But that fawn response, where you take care of everybody else's emotional needs as a means to take care of yourself. You're putting that fire out. You're doing whatever they need. You start people pleasing. You shut yourself down to make sure they're okay. Many of us, particularly women, have a fawn response. Okay? So you got to match your word. Talk it out. Write it out. Pray it out. Okay? If silence grows it, you got to find a healthy way to show it. Okay? All right? Okay, yeah, we already talked about the last few weeks, and we mentioned it today, the epigenetic effects of trauma being trapped, finding out that even certain kinds of ugly words, they're trapped in that DNA and pass through the DNA. So we have the epigenetics. Then we also have the social constructs. Then we have the racism and the sexism and the classism and the colorisms and all those isms that we live inside of. So when you do the internal and the external, the nature versus nurture is deep for us. Is deep for us. And, the mother people call it generational curses. Well, then my hips and my lips ought to be generational curses if I got it from my mom and my dad and I don't like it. Nah. All right? We'll hyper spiritualize everything. All right? So I want you to aim it right. Remember, we said that the word for sin, hamartia in the Greek, the word for sin means to miss the mark, as an archer draws back a bow and he shoots it and he missed the mark. The mark is over here, but your target and your hit is over here. Sin means to miss the mark. Okay? Ask yourself again, why am I really angry? Is this the real source? Is the one who's in front of me or the one who's inside of me that I'm angry at? Is there the real source? Is that the real source? All right. Or is this who in front of me and they're the easiest to take the target at the time? Am I really mad at them or am I really mad at me? We talked about that projection, projecting what's inside of you onto this. Your oppressor uses projection very often to handle their cognitive dissonance of a gospel they preach, but one they don't live. All right? Turn that anger into an assignment. Remember we said Ida B. Wells, her friend was lynched, I think around 1892 or something like that. And then there was 700 more cases of documented lynching. Starts an anti-lynching campaign. Douglas, Fannie Lou Hamer, fire setting. We still getting fire setting. They still setting fire and burning stuff down, burning on Wall Street down, burning out cities and stuff. I mean, just all of it. Put it to work. Put your anger to work. It may even be a part of your mission in life. Your misery may be part of your ministry. Your mess, if you overcome it and survive it, may be your ministry. So turn that anger into an assignment like they did, like the mother did whose son got killed, started mad. Mothers against drunk driving. She said ain't gonna happen not to another one. Oh, you got mine, but you won't get another one. You gotta turn it. Your mess is often your ministry. You want to turn your mess into your mess age. And you may find that many of the things that you have encountered have something to do with your divine purpose. So turn it into purpose, sublimate it, get it out of you in ways that will produce positive results. Whenever the scripture says, and God was wroth and God got angry, we saw a few things get, jacked up. We saw Jesus turning over tables and all of that. He was ticked off at the injustice that they brought the spirit of Rome into their people. Well, why preachers ain't never, okay. All right. And so he said, you won't do none of this. You won't enjoy none of this. You ain't gonna get none of this money. Turns over the table and does whatever he has to do. When God is wroth and when God is angry, even if things kind of get torn up, God's anger is always redemptive. It is to bring things back into their equilibrium, to bring things back into balance, cosmic balance, mind, soul, body, and spirit balance. You want balance in your life. Mind, soul, body, spirit, relational balance. The cosmos is in relationship. When it is out of balance, the earth is going to correct itself. We seeing it. When we keep raping Mother Earth is clapping back to bring and restore balance. Your anger should restore relationship, restore boundaries, restore intention, restore. It must be redemptive, not reactive and rage that after you tear up everything and you done smear dookie all over the walls, an apology don't get the dookie off the walls. And it don't get the stench out of the people's nose who had to smell it. Okay, a little graphic, but I think we get it. Okay, and try to close it. Try to close it or process it before you go to sleep at night. Feel it by day, set it down by night. Pick the fight back up tomorrow if needed. Put on some music that keep your head from going. Do some deep breathing and say, I'm getting that out of my body. Last thing. If look, most of our rage is older than us. We already said it. Epigenetically, genetically, nature, nurture, it's in everything. It's older than us. We're born into it. Okay? Don't be afraid to give yourself, if you're black in America, the gift of therapy. Have a real circle. This couch. Your elders. Even if you think they don't know what they're talking about, they still got some wisdom you don't have because been here longer than just got here. Therefore, got here don't know what been here know because been here too long. Okay? Be angry. You have the right. Sin not. Do not hit the wrong target, even if that target is yourself. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath so all of this stuff gets in your brain. No generation should inherit a rage nobody taught them to heal. But they didn't teach us because they held it so they could hold us together, so they could hold us things together. It's coming out in their as they age. It's coming out in the dementia. It's coming out in the cognitive decline. It's coming out, ladies, in our autoimmune system. It's coming out, men, in the narrowing of the arteries and the stress on the heart. It's coming out in the extra cortisol, so we get a little extra belly fat. Now we got a little extra glucose, a little extra body fat, a little extra inflammation. Ladies, it's coming out in pains and aches. It's coming out in the autoimmune system. It's coming out just like your hair coming out. It's coming out every which way. It is more room out than in. We must find healthy expression of anger. Be angry and sin not. I hope this has been helpful. I don't know where we're going next week. I don't know. Got a lot going on, so I hope I'll be able to be on. But I don't know where we're quite going with this next week. Y'all want to be finished with this, or you want to tap a little further? Let me hear you in the next few moments where you want to go. And please like, tag, and share this. Um, like, tag, and share this. If you would please, therapy has been extremely helpful in untooling negative and poorly framed viewpoints. Amen. If we can rewire, listen, that neuroplasticity of the brain, that even if it's damaged over here, we can get a spot right here and that thing can go and we can rewire and rework. Some things you're going to have to practice. Some things, okay, Mary Duke, let's continue. All right. All right. Yep. Don't hit the wrong target. Even if y'all want to deal. Yeah. Do we want to deal next week with self anger? Anger at our people and self anger? What do you think? Let's talk about that self sabotage. And let's talk about we gotta talk about guilt and shame. And we feel guilt and shame a little different than other people. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why literally in 30 seconds. When you also have in your DNA the African spirituality that says we're one with God, one with nature, and one with one another, we're one with the earth. There's something in us that has a higher standard, even if the church don't teach it, even if you didn't grow up with it, something in your know or something in your DNA knows that we are held to a higher standard. Not simply because we're black and they're not, but because they're things we know. We've always known better until we assimilated and got bitter. And so we can be a little hard on ourselves. And so I think, okay, self-sabotage, good. All right. Okay, self-sabotage and positive. I don't know if I can get them all, James. But I think we'll go, okay. All right, sounds good. All right. I think that's where we're going to go. We're going to deal with a little anger, self-anger, and a little guilt and shame, and a little sabotage. Maybe just take that one sabotage. Maybe take one. All right. But what happens when we are angry at ourselves and we never process that, when we let ourselves down? You can only let yourself down if you have an unreasonable expectation, which a lot of us do, or if you really have the right expectation according to how God wired you. And inside of you, you know how God wired you. And as the old saints used to say, and you know you living beneath your privilege, you may be a little angry at yourself. So somewhere in here, with the self-anger, the sabotage or something, we're going to look at that next week. Again, thank you so very much. I am over my time. That's not unusual for me. Boundaries. But we're over our time tonight. But thank you so very much. And thank you for waiting for us to get on through all of this stuff here at this here hotel in Newark. And pray that I can get out of here. It's supposed to storm again tomorrow, but I need to get home. I need to get home. All right, I don't want to get angry and sin while I'm here. But thank you again. Thank you. Please like, tag, and share. Our people need this. This is our safety. This is our platform. This is our stuff. All right? And we going to help ourselves and heal ourselves with the tools God has given us. Because you cannot use the same tools that were used to oppress you to liberate you. You have been on the sacred couch. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time. I thank you. Well, beloved, my assignment here tonight is up, but our journey together shall continue. Thanks for sharing this special time and safe space with us here on the sacred couch. Remember, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Your divinity is of God. It's perfect. It's our humanity that needs healing, repair, and restoration. This is a spiritual process. It takes time. It takes work. But I declare, becoming your authentic self is worth both the work and the wait. Until next time, beloved, continue reclaiming your narrative, recovering your authenticity, and realigning with the divine. I am Dr. S. Janine Hyman. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. We'll see you back here next week on the Sacred Couch.